All right, let me know if you guys can hear me. I am about to start streaming, and I will get going in a second. Let me set a promo real quick, and we will start rolling. Let me know about the audio and everything like that. I'm gonna turn on music and sound and everything like that, so you can hear my voice, and let me know if the balance is weird or anything like that. But let me get a promo done real quick. Tweets. I'll do that real quick, and we'll get rolling. All right, let me get some water real quick and probably use the restroom, and we'll get started with Nax Ramus. I'll be right back. All right, here we go. We are going to be playing Nax Ramus today. It's the first real big raid in Wrath of the Lich King, which is why I'm in Dalaran. This is my monk character. I don't know if I played her last time when we were doing the last stream with all the new talents and stuff like that, but I figured I was going to go ahead and try to get her transmogged a little bit. I'm not sure where the hell the transmogs are in Dalaran, though.
King's honor, friend.
There might not be a transmogrifier in Dalaran. Let me see. Huh.
Farewell.
Well, no loss, I guess. Anyways, Nax Ramus is the first big raid in Wrath of the Lich King. It was an old raid that was ported from vanilla WoW into... I'm just going to fly over there. Why am I doing this? Let me fly real quick. Again, I'm going to be in giantbomb.com/chat. I'm not going to be in the YouTube chat if I even left it on, but in case you have any questions or anything like that, let me know in giantbomb.com/chat. So I'm kind of trying to get a handle on all these new talents and spells from the pre-expansion patch, which has come down the... And for the most part, the monk seems to be pretty much the same. Some of the things that were old baseline spells are now talents, like Summon the Blackhawk statue, which seems to be a lot more strong now that it's a talent you have to take. And I'm kind of running it for now over leg sweep, just because it makes some of these old raids a little easier to get through. But I'm still trying to figure out a lot of these new stuff that is going on with Blackout Strike. I need to set up a macro, actually. Okay, I do. So for my characters, I normally have a macro on their primary attack type. Make a new one here. It's going to be Blackout Strike. I'm not very good at keeping aware of when my trinkets are up, and if I was a raider, this would be a bad problem, but it's not that big of a deal for me, because I just like to use trinkets on their cooldown at all times whenever they're ready to go, just because it's better than me forgetting about them and not using them at all. So I'm going to say cast Blackout Strike. So this little macro that I use for most of my characters is for the main attack that they do. Show tool, tip, that might be hashtag, I think. And then you have something where it will use both of your trinkets. I'm trying to remember the trinket slots, but let me find out real quick. I think it's 13 or 14 to save. Come down here, let's see. That's not right. I'll find that real quick. Macro. Use 13, 14. That should be working okay. Use. Oh, that's why. Huh. That's weird. That should be used on the trinket no matter what. Oh, it did. Okay. Cool. There we go. And that's a very simple macro trinket. If you are too lazy to keep track of when your trinkets are up, that is one that will just set it every time you attack. It'll try to use your trinket cooldowns and go ahead and bust them out. So that's kind of fun, because I'm really bad about managing cooldowns and making sure I use stuff in the most optimal way. So I prefer to just kind of go ahead and use them as soon as they are ready, rather than wait. Okay, here we are, Naxxramas. This was originally a 40-man raid in Vanilla WoW with Kel'thuzan as the boss, but all I really remember about it was that every boss took like 6 or 8 weeks for the top-end raiding guilds. It would take so long for them to take one boss down, and then the next one would be just forever for them to go through. It was definitely one of the longest progression raids that I recall. Now I'm gonna bust through it really, really quick. But back in the day, it was very, very, very much a challenge. You had to have a lot of resist gear, and you had to be playing pretty tight. But nowadays, I will probably actually have a hard time showing off some of these bosses because they will die so quickly. All right. Here we go. So Naxxramas has 4 quarters before you get to the end boss. There's Arachnid, Plague, Military, and Construct. You kind of want to take them in around that order. That's basically the order in which they are going to be easiest to hardest. So I'm going to start off with the Arachnids. I'm going to go to Plague, Military, and Construct, and then there are 2 end bosses at the end of it. Let me make sure I'm a 25 player. Okay. If I was on 10 man, this would be kind of a cakewalk. Everybody's popping up these, man. Who's even in my guild anymore? $323 people, 2 online. That's basically the story of WoW now. Somebody asked me if I remember to buy the foam bat for raids. It does not work in raids, unfortunately. It only works on like outside monsters, quest monsters, and things like that. So it wouldn't really do me too much good. Hopefully, I'll be able to find a way to hit people without killing them entirely right away. If you have any questions, giantbomb.com/chat is the place you want to go. I am in there, and I will feel free to send it to me actually at Rory if you can, so I see it popped up. Otherwise, it might get lost in the clutter. Anyways, here we are inside Naxxramas. I'm going into the Arachnid quarter first. Let me make sure I actually did the right quarter. Fairly sure I did, but nope, wrong one. I gotta go. My bad. Here's the Arachnid quarter. Okay. Game audio is a little bit hot. If you guys have any audio problems, let me know. I can adjust everything up or down no matter what. I was actually concerned for a bit that my microphone was not going to work at all. So, anyways, the Arachnid quarter is named for the large number of snakes that are in here, obviously. I did not kill the cat. Let me go do that. So this is Kel'Thuzan's lair. He's a lich that is working with Arthas, the Lich King, to... Is he Lich? I believe he is. And this is his cat. And you can...
A curse upon you, Indoors. The arms of the Lich King will hunt you down. You will not
Mr. Bigglesworth, Kel'Thuzan does not like it if you kill his cat. Go figure. I'm gonna do it anyway. So anyways, this is a big floating necropolis up above the Wintergrasp zone of Northrend here. We're in the Dragonblight. There's a bunch of other raids that we're going to go through at some point, but Naxxramas was really the first big raid of Wrath. There are 3 really, really big raids in Wrath. Naxxramas, Ulduar, and Icecrown Citadel. We'll probably try to pop off some of the smaller raids too, but most of those are kind of one boss and you can kind of breeze in and out pretty quickly. First boss up here is going to be Anub'ar Khan. You might remember him. He's also in a Wrath 5-man as a boss. Lost City, something. He's also in there as well, but he is the first boss you're going to take down here. Let me pop up my notes real quick, and I will be at... Oh, shoot. I got to log in. Sorry. So I take notes for all these streams too, so let me just make sure I have them here, because sometimes it's easier to explain stuff in voice than show it, because I am so overpowered compared to all these enemies that they will die pretty quick, and sometimes the nuance of all these bosses will be lost if I don't kind of talk about them a little bit. Let me get these guys down real quick. And my notes are popping up. A lot of junk. Actually, oh man, I need to go out and sell. I'll do it after this wing real quick. Okay, here we go. So here is Anub'ar Khan. He is I forget what the heck these guys are called. They're spider dudes. I don't even know what he is supposed to be. Let me actually look that up real quick. Anub'ar Khan. They don't even say. I don't know. Bad guy. Crypt Lord. That's what the term is for him. He's a Crypt Lord. And he has 2 ads here.
Little hearts beating. Yes, beating faster now. Soon the beating will stop.
Cool. Good story. So anyways, he's Anub'ar Khan. He has 2 ads here. Let me pop up my notes real quick and give you the rundown on this fight. So he has one big ability called Impale. If you have multiple people around, he'll focus on, obviously you're supposed to be doing this with 25 people, he'll focus on one of them, run to him, and anybody in between him and that dude would have been thrown up in the air and also like done a huge amount of damage. They'll take big falling damage. These 2 Crypt Guards will have a stacking acid dot on anybody they attack, so they have to be kind of off-tanked, off to the side. And he also has something called Locust Swarm, which hopefully we'll get to. It actually silences everybody around him. Cool. You have to kind of run away from him when that happens. And he can also pop up little bad guys. When anybody dies or one of these crypt guards die, he'll pop up a bunch of little ads that have to be off-tanked or frozen or anything like that. So basically what this fight was you're trying to kite him around the Locust Swarm. So you had to make sure him run kind of slowly around the arena while everything else is kind of being killed over here. Anyways, we're probably not going to see much of that. I'm going to try and show you as much as I can, but obviously the amount of damage I do, it's a little tougher to keep people alive here. Let me let him go for a bit. I'm going to see if I can get one of the... See if I can get a Locust Swarm going. He might attack me with Impale of some sort. He will attack you with Impale even if you're the only person in here. That might have been Impale, I think. He might be so focused on my little Black Ox statue, which is a taunt statue, that he might not be able to tell. There we go. That is what we're talking about. So you would take a big amount of falling damage. As a monk, I don't take much falling damage, but this, actually, when I was trying this on my druid earlier, I came close to dying from just getting impaled over and over again. Because fall damage is relative to your total health. It's not based on level. And you can totally die from it. Where's my... I still have a heal. That's good though. I'm not sure if he's actually going to do the Locust Swarm here with my... Man, I wish I knew what was so attractive about this statue, but they do seem to like attacking. I feel like I said before, this was a old baseline spell for the Black Ox statue. It'll summon a little thing that will, there we go. So the insect swarm would slow him down a little bit, but you'd also be unable to attack or do anything if you're inside the range of it. Let me see if I can actually get close enough. There we go. Unable to attack or cast spells, so even if I try, I'm pacified. And I'm taking damage too. So basically I had to run away, kite him over here, and switch positions with him. So, and now there are corpse scarabs coming up from this corpse over here, and these would have to be off tank too, frozen and taken out pretty quick, or else they would do a fair amount of damage. Anyways, hopefully that all kind of makes sense, but a Nubricon is gonna die pretty quick. I got him. Like I said when I started this up, I don't know exactly how well I'm going to be going to be able to show off some of these bosses because they are going to die pretty quick. And I will probably need to go sell some stuff in a bit. But let's get through this wing first. Actually, while I'm here, I'm going to go do that real quick because the wing kind of naturally goes into the other one. So. Burp. Let me pop out real quick and sell, and then we'll come back in and move on to the next boss. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them into giantbomb.com/chat. That's where I am. And there's always somebody here with a spot. That is a really annoying sound. I apologize. Now that everything is in my, oh, no, don't go away.
Many wares.
Don't need to worry about keeping any purples at all. Just gonna sell everything because they're either useful or not, and most of them are not anymore. I'm gonna keep my fishing hat, my fishing pole, and apart from that, we're prepping.
Well, friend.
Alright, we're back. Sprinks in the chat says, I'm thinking of coming back to my Paladin and Legion. I don't know what you played, Sprinks, but the Paladin seems kind of pretty similar to what it was before, at least my tank, and I kind of dig the simplicity of it. I'm really kind of curious about how the Monk is going to hold up there's not much. You don't have a huge amount of armor or block or anything like that, and I haven't seen a huge amount of stuff to compensate for that yet. You can self-heal a fair amount, but that only goes so far when you're taking huge amounts of damage. We'll find out, I suppose. I should probably run some raids or dungeons on this guy. I'm not going to worry with these guys. I think they'll probably come down anyways later on, but there are a bunch of little trash guys between me and the next boss, and we are going to go ahead and not worry about them. How do you like that? Have mages changed at all since Pandaria? I don't even really know much about mages. WoW is really weird. Pardon me for drinking water. I don't do a lot of range DPS very well. I kind of only play tanks, and I can do a little bit of DPS up close, like rogue or...
desires mean nothing. You are acolytes of the Master now, and you will serve the cause without question. The greatest glory is to die in the Master's service.
Cool. Good story. This is Grand Widow Farlina, who has a pretty unique mechanic here. Let me kind of clear some of the trash around her real quick before we do that. Anyways, Grand Widow Farlina. She has 6 ads and 25 man. 2 followers who are kind of the bruiser people, and also these worshippers who are kind of the keys to the fight. So Farlina has a couple of big attacks. Let me pop in my notes here real quick again. She does a poison bolt volley to anybody near her. She also has Rain of Fires, which will pop up on anybody in the raid. That can be pretty random. But the big thing is Frenzy, where she will grit a little bit bigger and do a lot more damage. So back in the day, you had to have enough priests to mind control these worshippers. You had to keep them alive until she was about to Frenzy. And as soon as she frenzied, you had to mind control these guys. And when you mind control somebody, they have a whole nother bar of abilities. You had to walk over and use Widow's Embrace, which kills the worshipper, but also cancels her frenzy. Because if she frenzies for too long, the main tank would probably die. Obviously, I'm not going to have to worry too much about that, but we will at least put down one of these things here.
Run while you still can.
At least see if she will enrage at some point, which I believe she will. Ow. What are you doing, buddy? Outrager says, doesn't the fact that your top health bars don't go to the edge when full make you think that you have less health when you actually do? I'm not sure what that means, because I'm pretty sure they go all the way to the edge. I don't really look at this thing down here very much. I mostly look up here. And the only problem is that I'm not really taking any damage at all from any of these bosses. They're all kind of going to do 6,000 damage a second, and I have 428. So the amount of damage all these people are doing is less than my internal regeneration. So don't make it. This is not going to be challenging at all. I'm really not going to take very much damage. So my voice on this display to be pretty much okay. What server am I on? I am on, I believe, this is Kel'thuzan, a low pop server. Kind of what my friend played on, so I kind of joined him as well. And I have like 10 characters on here now. Ow! Stop!
You cannot hide from me.
So here's her frenzy. She gets bigger, and she also attacks faster, and she does a lot more damage. So as soon as this popped up, you had to mind control a worshiper and cancel her frenzy on 25 man. If you're on 10 man, you can actually just drag a worshiper over and kill him near her, and that would cancel this out. But as a god among ants here, I'm just gonna go ahead and take her out. Oh, come on. Man, that's so weird. I'm not used to having... Really not used to all these skills yet, but...
Will avenge me.
Goodbye, Farlina. So she is the second boss of the Arachnid Quarter, and the last boss is coming up pretty soon. I could probably avoid, just run away from most of these people. But I'm gonna kill them anyways, because it's fun to do. So the quarter structure of this place, if you go out, I can't actually zoom out, but maybe I can. Let's see. So you are kind of rotating around from quarter to quarter, and you start off. Arachnid is the easiest one, and you go from 1 to 1 as you go. But you can actually always pop out to the beginning and sell stuff or anything like that. So it's kind of freeform, not incredibly so, but it's not as bad as some of the other really linear raids are. You can actually go in the order you want to as a raid. You don't have to stick to one quarter. They're all open to you as you start off. So if you don't want to bother with some of the earlier bosses, you don't have to, or you can save them for, you know, B-list teams or anything like that. So it's all kind of nice. Again, any questions, go to giantbomb.com/chat. That's where I am, and we'll be doing this for, man, starting 12:30. 12:30, I'm not even done with one quarter yet, so this might take a little bit of time. But anyway, Mexna, I honestly have no idea how to pronounce her name. Mexna. I want to say Mexna. Mexna is a big-ass spider, and the last boss of the Arachnid quarter. She has an ability to throw people over to these little webs over here, 2 people at a time, and the rest of the raid had to be really close, because if you're webbed up, you had to break people out of their web cocoons really quickly, or else they would probably die. She also has a big raid-wide AoE, that web spray, which stuns everybody in the raid for 6 seconds, even the healers and the tank. So the tank has to be up full health, and the healers have to have a bunch of dots on him, because she will still attack you, obviously. A lot of these mechanics are not going to pop up in while I'm soloing, but we'll see if I can put down one of my totems, and maybe she might do something weird to me. I think if I get webbed, I might die. I'm not entirely sure. I might not be able to break out, because you can't break out of a web from inside. Only other people in your raid can do that for you. So I might. Let's see. I might have just died. Let's see. So I'm cocooned. 60 seconds. Can I attack it? I cannot. I'm stunned. I'm taking damage. Actually, ooh, man, that's a lot of damage. Yeah, you're welcome to wait with me for 40 seconds to see if I pop out of this. So ideally, everybody else on the raid would be here right near you, and would be attacking this web wrap and getting you out of here. Obviously, I don't have anybody else here to help me with that, but so I might. I'm just kind of screwed here until I get out of here. Then I can go attack this lady. I don't know if I can trick it out. I don't think I can. I don't really have any movement trinkets or anything like that. I think I have one kind of skill that'll bust me out of shit, but I'm not really sure what it is. Alright, I'm gonna go try and attack real quick. Oh, God! I might... Oh, stunned. Okay, web spray, stunned. Try and attack her more. Frenzy, and dead. Sorry, I didn't want to wait another minute if I got cocooned again, which I probably would. So, again, when you raid, a lot of the solo raids, you will not have to encounter much of the mechanics, because most of the bosses will only do their moves if there's more than one person in there. So the cocoon thing, if you're soloing this stuff, you don't have to worry about. The only reason I had to get cocooned was because I have my Black Ox statue, which kind of counts as another character for the purposes of raids. It can be kind of a drawback, but for the most part, it's pretty good to have. Aged winter cloak. Who's yelling at me? Now we're going to pop into the Plague Quarter, I want to say. Let me make sure I'm doing this in the right order. I believe so. The first boss is called Noth the Plague Bringer, so I think the Plague quarter is up next. Excuse me, burps. Oh my gosh. Kind of dive down. Somebody's asking about the Legion pre-patch stuff. That came out this week, and there were a bunch of changes. We're all still trying to figure out stuff, theory crafting and everything like that, but for the most part, everything seems to be cool. My rogue has changed a bunch. Now you have a gun that you use a bunch as a rogue. And I'm still trying to figure all that out, but most of my tanks seem pretty similar. I haven't played much of the warrior yet, but we're going to try and figure that out. Maybe I'll pop onto some of those a little bit later. Anyways, Plague Quarter, as you can tell from the name, a lot of bad people in here. Oh, stop. For some reason, the undead, the Lich King's armies are very focused on bringing plague to living society, killing people to make more undead, because you need bodies, obviously, if you're an army of undead. You can't... I actually wonder what the end game for the undead army was, because if you wind up killing everybody, I mean, I don't think the undead can reproduce. What do you do at that point? You have no more humans. Maybe you keep them as slaves or something, make more babies, and then turn them into undead later on. I don't know. It's really weird. So yeah, all the green stuff here, somebody in the chat is asking, this is all like plague stuff. Bad poison. They would poison whole towns, turn them dead, and then go to the graveyard later on and turn them into minions for the undead army. Long way around. Anyways, here is the first boss coming up here, Noth the Plague Bringer. As you can probably tell, that is not the best title to have unless you're a very bad person. So he has a ability to do the Curse of the Plague Bringer, which would curse 10 random people, and if you didn't uncurse those people, they would do something called Wrath of the Plague Bringer, which you'll probably see because it'll cast on me. That would so after 10 seconds, those people would start doing huge amounts of damage to everybody within 30 yards. So if you didn't clear enough of those curses before they popped, the raid would probably wipe. He also blinks, cripples, and will summon a bunch of ads. But I don't think we're going to have to worry too much about any of that stuff, because I think he's going to be just fine to die. I'll try to get to a point where he will actually summon some bad people.
Rise and fight once more.
So he does summon over people that have to be off-tanked, warriors, and then a little bit later on he will summon some champions too. Oh, so many. Oh, I'm hurting a lot.
My soldiers, rise and fight once more.
So I'm only waiting around so you can see the next phase of this fight, where he kind of does the he will summon in even more skeleton people. Elusive Brawler, what is this? Oh, that might be one of my trinkets.
Rise, my soldiers! Rise and fight once more!
So he blinks away too, which will reset all the aggro on him, which is not fun, especially for a tank. I'm sure that's quite crazy, but for the most part, it's picking up ads, making sure he doesn't do anything too insane, and then de-cursing anybody who picks up that curse of the Plaguebringer. I think he's about to, yeah, so he teleports away for a bit, and now the other phase of this fight is that he summons in a bunch of ads, which you have to kind of burn down really quickly before he, you know, they kill you or he kills everything. Ow! Ow! I don't think this is on. I think this is a pure timer thing. I don't think it matters whether I kill these guys or not. But anyways, I'm gonna put down a. Yeah, good luck with that. Champions, I believe, were a little harder to deal with than the regular ads during the fight, but not very hard for me at any rate. Let me see what else is in here. Hygen. Oh, Hygen's fun. Loetheb. Okay. I'm a monk. Somebody's asking what class I'm playing. This is a fairly new class. This is the last class I think they added. I'm gonna go ahead and kill this guy.
I serve the master in death.
No, probably not. Well, maybe. Okay. Already filling up again. So anyways, this is the first boss of the Plague Wing, and now we're gonna move on to the second boss, which is one of the famous bosses of not just Naxxramas, but all of WoW, really. It's gonna be Hygen. Fun stuff. Safety dance is the famous thing from his encounter, which we'll show you really shortly. I believe these bats would respawn really quickly, so you have to move through this area pretty fast. That's a raid. I could be mistaken on that, but there are a lot of enemies. Somebody's asking me what it costs to play since the original. I actually just bought about 5 months worth of game time. I kind of turned in all my gold, and it was the best thing to do for the amount of gold that I had, because I don't really spend gold very much. And I turned it into about 5 months. It was like 200 grand or something like that. I'm not a big gold person in these games. I don't really do much of the gold searching like a lot of people do. But I'm playing for free for 5 months, so hey, it all works out. All right, Hygen. Let me pull up my notes real quick. So Hygen has a couple weird things that he does. He has a spell disruption, which will increase cast time to like 4x. So everything you cast takes way longer to cast if you're close to him. He also has a fever that he will cast that will disease people nearby the target and reduce their maximum health by half. And that's obviously a bad thing to have because you want to have as much health as you can. But for the most part, if you can avoid that stuff, the only big thing about him is the safety dance, which I'm going to show you real quick.
I see you.
So he's going to attack me for a while, and I'm going to avoid killing him until the safety dance has to happen. He's actually hit me with anything yet. Just kind of hit me, but in a second here, the phase 2 will be the safety dance, and we'll show you what that means. Of course, the ground will blow up under your feet, and that does a fair amount of damage too. This is kind of random now, but it's not going to be random in a second here. Yeah, I should zoom in, shouldn't I? I can aim. Ba 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 dow. Some of the waiting for the next phases in these games is not super awesome. It can take a little bit of time, but here we are. Oh, so he reduced my maximum health by 50%, and he's doing a dot to me. So this had to be dispelled. I think we can actually clear diseases. Do that. Here we go. Safety dance. So your entire raid would have to avoid this whole thing that he's about to do. Go here. Go over here. Go over here. Go back here. Go back here. Go back here. If you were caught in one of these little eruptions, you would take a fair amount of damage. But the pattern is not too hard when you get used to it, but there apparently were a lot of people who just couldn't figure it out. But for the most part, not super complicated, but you rely on the intelligence of others sometimes, and sometimes that's a bad idea. Hagen actually doesn't have an rage or anything like that. He just kind of goes back and forth between these two phases. And there was an achievement for nobody taking any damage from that whole song and dance in 25 man, and that's a tough one to get. But now you can do it on your own. It's not too bad. That's ugly. Holy mackerel! What is that? That's really. Oh man, some of these old. Damn, that's really bad. That's really pole arm. Crypt Fiend's Bite. It's kind of cool looking. These guys will slow you down if they see you, but I'm not going to worry about it because I cannot be hit by almost anything at this point. We're going to move on to the end boss of the Plague Quarter here. Or is there 2 more? I forget. No, 1. Loetheb. Pop my notes real quick, read up on this guy for a second. So Loetheb was really interesting because he actually has an aura that will prevent any healing done for 17 out of every 20 seconds. So you have no healing done at all. Your healers have to be really on the ball in terms of when they can heal in those 3 seconds, who they have to heal. They really had to focus on the tank and getting him up to maximum health, obviously. And a lot of maggots here. Gross. So that's the big concern about him. There's also a big dot that goes to the entire raid damage over time. And the other big thing that you have to notice here, and I'll show you as we fight him, is that there are a thing called fungal spores, which are kind of going to float around. And every time you kill a spore, anybody nearby, the 5 closest people nearby, would get a big buff. Crit chance goes up like 50%, and you have no threat. So you want to get that basically on everybody but your tank. Even healers can generate, could back in the day, I'm not sure if they still can crit heals, but they could crit heals and would do a lot more healing for the amount of time they had when he has that 3-second window. So there's one big tank, and then everybody else has to get this buff and do as much damage as they can, and the healers kind of have to see if I can get it. Let's see if I can find it in a second, but there we go. So necrotic aura is healing effects reduced by 100%. Means I take no incoming healing except when it runs out. So the healers had to basically dot everybody, and 3 seconds is only like a couple global cooldowns, so that was pretty tough. But if you don't have to worry about being healed, you kill one of these guys and you get the fungal creep. Critical chance increased by 50%. Spells and abilities cause no threat. So if you're a DPS, you basically want to go crazy on the sky when you have this buff. And it lasts 2 minutes, so it's pretty powerful. So basically, it's a kind of a dance where you have 5 different groups spread around the area, and your DPS had to get the buff from these little fungal spores and do as much damage as they possibly could. Because Lois, man, this thing is really, so I was saying before, the Black Ox statue is way more powerful. This guy is so sticky. I've done 8 million damage to him, and he's still not being pulled off yet. That's kind of good that it's a talent. It should do that, but it's also kind of weird sometimes when you pull him off. Anyways, that's kind of the fight. You want to heal really quickly while you have the 3 seconds you can. And apart from that, if you're DPS, you just want to go crazy on him. But at any rate, So that was the Plague Wing. I think next up is going to be the Military Quarter. And I'm going to go and try and get in there now. How about that? Where do I go? Right here. Oh, I can pull it off the statue because I had zero threat with the buff. That makes sense. But the Black Ox statue does seem to be doing a lot more threat than it used to as a town, so. Here we go. The Military Quarter is basically the army of Kel'thuzan, but also the Lich King. A lot of Death Knights in here, a lot of other, as we say. So when you aggro these people, they actually buff themselves with whatever the actual buffs that Death Knights, the characters in game, will have. But we don't have to worry too much about it.
I'm gonna enjoy killing these slack-jawed daffodils!
Yeah! We got some shit in a bit, but for the moment, I can just run to Instructor Vesuvius, who is not going to be nearly as cool me to show than he was actually playing. Ooh, boo, yeah, yeah. Death throws are always a weird, funny thing to hear. It's weird not having any self buffs. Obviously, they took away a lot of the self buffs, and also my shielding is gone too, which is very difficult for me to get used to. Not right now so much when I'm playing basically marshmallows, but just the idea of fighting without being able to shield myself is kind of a big change for folks. Which I will just have to get used to, I suppose. Obviously, a big challenge. I should think more about my strategy here. So this is Instructor Vesuvius. He was back in the day basically impossible to tank. You could not actually even fight him, except for the fact that he has 4 understudies all around him, and they have the ability to cast Bone Shield on themselves and take all the damage that he does. So basically what you'd have to do is have one tank take 3 of these guys, and the other tank would, no, actually one tank only, a priest would mind control one of these understudies and attack Vesuvius, and tank him for your raid while your DPS is going crazy on him. And once they die, you have to switch around. In 10-man raid, there would be a little orb that would let you mind control these guys, but for the 25-man, you would have to have a priest around to mind control. That's kind of the fight, and none of that will matter here because I can't mind control anybody, and it doesn't really matter because even Vesuvius, why do I keep on saying Vesuvius? Vesuvius will not even come close to scratching me, so that is the way the fight went back in the day. Unfortunately, I can't really show any of those mechanics because I am basically going to kill everybody right now. It was really cool, and this is not going to be cool to see, so I'm just going to go ahead and kill everybody as quick as I can. Hey! You gonna... Okay. Oh. Yeah, like I said, there's really not much to this fight if you're soloing. You just kind of want to go in and kill everybody. It was cooler back in the day, man. It was so cool. These kids nowadays don't know how easy they got it, but unfortunately, that is kind of an underwhelming thing to see when I'm soloing. I apologize for that, but there's not much, not a big way around it. Alright, just floating swords kind of around. That's cool. Intelligent swords that are just kind of there. Not creepy at all. Next up is Gothic the Harvester. This can actually take a little while no matter what you do, just because of the way it's structured, as you'll see in a second. Gothic has two zones here. There's the whole area is split in two. There's an undead zone and a living zone. And every time you kill a living creature over here, it'll be sent over here and spawn in the undead zone. So you needed to have split your raid up and have people over here taking the undead, and as you take the living creatures over here, I'll just go ahead and show you.
Foolishly you have sought your own demise. Brazenly you have disregarded powers beyond your understanding.
This used to be, I believe, impossible solo until they changed some of the mechanics here, but for the most part, they're pretty similar to the way it was back in the day.
There is only one way out. To walk the lonely path of the damned.
So he will summon in living people here to come fight your half of the raid. There's nobody over there yet, but as you take these guys out, their souls will pop up here and kind of go over to the undead side, and they will spawn in as the undead versions of themselves. So the undead half of your raid would have to take these people out. You have more people coming in all the time, and the only kicker here, most of these people are pretty easy, but there's the riders, which are much more difficult, and those are the kind of things you have to really pay attention to, so which we'll see in a second, hopefully. These guys are just hanging out over here. They'll come through in a second. The first time I tried to solo this way back in the day, I don't think this gate ever opened up, but now it will, and you can basically aggro everybody in the entire the only way to kill it, because otherwise they're all stuck over here and you can't fight them at all. Okay. This is one of the few kind of boss fights in WoW that is kind of timered in terms of raid fights. Usually if you run up to him and whack him a bunch, he'll die, but he is unattackable right now. Even if you hit him, he can't be hurt, so you just have to wait out this entire summoning kind of thing. Obviously back in the day that would be good because you don't want a million things hitting you at once, but for now, it's when you're soloing this kind of stuff, it does take a little more time than you want. So the riders here are the hardest ones to kill, and they will actually, once you kill them, they will spawn two enemies over on the side that are pretty tough. Two undead enemies over here. So you have to kind of make sure the undead side of the raid is ready for you to kill these people before you actually take them out. Otherwise, you can kind of overwhelm the undead side, and that's a big challenge here. Not for me! So at some point, this whole gate will open up, and I'll kill everybody. But for the moment, we kind of have to wait for stuff to spawn. Boop boop a doo. There we go. So at some point, the gates will open, and this is kind of a joke at the moment, but. At some point, you will have to take on both sides of the raid by yourself as a soloer, which is not that big of a deal because I am untouchable. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them into giantbomb.com/chat. I am in there and answering anything you have, not just about WoW, but life. So this is the main part of the fight where you're kind of trading kills with the other side of the raid, but at some point, this guy up here will come down, and I'm gonna fucking take him out pretty quick. He's actually not even the hardest part of the raid. He will have a stacking dot that'll reduce everybody's stats by 10% every 15 seconds. So you have to kill him before that goes all the way to the bottom, or else the raid will wipe, which I can only assume must have been the most disheartening thing to get through all this shit and then have to wipe on the boss, who's not even that. He has like 10% of the health of the last person. He should be popping out any second now. There we go.
Now you face the harvest.
Harvest Soul. All stats reduced by 10%. This will stack up to 100%, at which point you have no health left and you will die. And you have to kill him before then, which I think I'm gonna do it. I think I can. Kind of a cool sword. Not quite as flashy as
Arms ye roustabouts! We've got company!
Invaders, cease this foolish venture at once. Turn away while you still can.
Come, Zeliek. Do not drive them out. Not before we've had our fun.
Enough battling. Let them come. We shall grind their bones to dust.
I do hope they stay alive long enough for me to introduce myself.
Ooh, innuendo.
Perhaps they'll come to their senses and run away as fast as they can.
I've heard about enough of your sniveling. Shut your flying breath before I shut it for you!
Conserve. Harness your rage. You will all have outlets for your frustration soon enough.
All right, let me get another drink of water. I'll be right back, and we'll take on the fourth horse. I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. Sorry. This is the last boss of the military quarter, the Four Horsemen. And as the whole text thing that you just heard was, there are four of them. They've all been conscripted into the Kel'thuzAD's service. But one of them, Sir Zeliek, is actually he remembers not being an asshole. He's actually a paladin, and he's kind of sad because he is now a Death Knight and undead, and he tries to warn off your entire group to not come in and get dead. But I don't plan on getting dead, so I'm kind of ignore that and go ahead and kill everybody in the vicinity. Somebody was asking what level you need to be to solo stuff. You get to level 100 so easily. That's really, I mean, you get to the max level in this game really, really quickly. And at that point, you can do Cataclysm 25-mans. Probably not heroic. My experience with heroics is that either there are some encounters that are DPS races, and as a tank, I can't get past them, or there are some mechanics where you basically get frozen and you can't move. But 25-man non-heroics are pretty easy to do for me at level 100. And then when you get into Panda Land, you have to kind of have a DPS to join me as a tank, and probably 3-man some of those. You can do 10-mans with 3 people. But then obviously when you're in the current expansion, you want to have as many people as possible. Hey guys, what's going on?
The first kill goes to me. Anyone care to wager?
Old Judebon says, I've been waiting for the Demon Hunter class release to get back into the game. I don't know if they have a timeline for that. They say it's going to be before Legion hits, which could be anything from a week to like, I don't even know. They haven't given anything concrete yet, unfortunately. Okay. The Four Horsemen. You got Korthaz, Lady Blaunir, and then Baron Rivendare, and Sir Zeliek. Kind of a complicated thing. that would happen here. So you have 4 horsemen that once you aggro them, they will go to each of them will go to one of the 4 corners of the room. If anybody is not, they all have to have somebody close enough to attack with their marks. If they don't see anybody nearby, they will wipe the raid. So you will basically have to, as a 25 man, you would have to have somebody attacking each boss at all times. Otherwise, you would wipe. So you can't like ignore one and keep it off in the corner and not worry about it. You have to have somebody there all the time. They each have a mark, which is unique to them, but they all do the same thing. They do basically a stacking shadow damage kind of thing to... Let me turn off the music here for a second. So basically, there are 2 ranged bosses back in the back, and there are 2 melee bosses here in the front. And every 3rd stack of a mark, you would have to switch your entire group. So there are going to be 4 groups at each corner trying to take on these bosses, and when you get 3 stacks of the mark, you would have to switch. Otherwise, the damage would get way too big for your healers to heal through. And that's kind of what it is. Also, who is it? Kel'thuzan has a thing called Meteor, which does a lot of damage to a lot of people, but it's spread out between a big group. So you had to have like 8, the entire group had to be stacked on each other to spread out the damage, because one person would die pretty much immediately. And yeah, that's kind of what it is. This is not going to work. It's obviously, again, I keep on apologizing. As a solo player, this is not going to be... Let's see. Let me try dropping a... Yes, they don't care about aggro at this point. They have to go over to their corners and figure out what they're doing. Oh, hey! Did I pull everybody? I did. Okay. So you see this text here. They're trying to cast the wipe stuff on me. Since I am not... This is a solo raid, I don't think that actually can kill me. But back in the day, if you didn't have people near these bosses back here, they would keep on casting this mark on you, and you would eventually die. This might actually do some damage at some point to me. I'm not sure. But anyways, that was kind of the way it had to be done back in the day. You had to have 4 groups. Oh, there's the meteor. That would have done a lot of damage to me had it not been.
This is.
Again, all these mechanics are kind of different when you're soloing and stuff. I'm gonna go kill these guys. What that? Touche.
Tired of these games. Proceed, and I will bash your souls to oblivion.
That's neat. So one more quarter to go, the construct quarter. This is obviously the last one you kind of want to hit because it is the most difficult, but I apologize. All this stuff is going to be a little easy, but at least I'm kind of showing off what things were back in the day. We'll get through this, and there are 2 more end bosses at the end, and then I have not written up my notes on Ulduar or Icecrown Citadel. I know there's a bunch of little dragon raids, which are basically 1 boss raids, but I think we'll probably save them for the big stream at some point in the future. And this seems like the most poorly designed necropolis I've seen. In order to get from one wing to another, you have to go through poison liquid. That does not seem to be very user-friendly. Maybe the undead don't have to worry about it, is the only thing I can assume. Like, they can just walk through, but this seems to be a poor architectural decision on the part of Kel'thuzAD. What skill is next to my fishing pole? That is a weather-beaten fishing hat. Increases my fishing for a bit, and then I fish with this. And I don't really like fishing. I kind of avoid that. It's kind of necessary to get some of the recipes done. If you really want to be a high-end person with all your food buffs and stuff, you gotta fish a little bit, but it was not fun in Draenor. It was really, really not fun. You kind of had to do a lot of it in order to get cheap. Oh, okay. Why are you yelling at me? Don't yell. Who's up first? Oh, did I miss it? Where did I go? Might be going the wrong way. Let me see. Yeah, I think I am. I have to go back to the center and come in from the center. Okay, my bad. I did something bad, and I'm gonna go keep going this way, but I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I am not best friends with Nat Pagel. That dude, the achievement for Nat Pagel in Warlords was like catching something like 1,000 fish in a few different zones, and it was really, really crazy. It was just maddening. I'm happy to fish a little bit, but fishing is only tolerable if you have another monitor with TV on. There's no other way to do it. Would people beat the raid on their release day? Suit wants to know. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I was talking about this before. Nextramus actually took a long goddamn time to get through for the old progression raids. But nowadays, it is, most of the people know the raids from beta and from testing, so they're pretty familiar with everything. But it still takes a little bit of time to get through, especially on, now it's like Mythic or whatever the highest difficulty is. But Nextramus in Vanilla was definitely one of those things that took months for people to actually clear all the bosses. It was really, really difficult, and every boss had gear you kind of needed to farm for the next boss to get high enough stats. It was very much an EverQuest kind of profession. But nowadays it's kind of not, I don't know. I'm not a progression raider kind of person, so I can't really speak to it too much. Hopefully there's a portal in here. Let's see if there is. There is, okay. Yeah, this is a big raid. This thing is huge. It's a very, very large, long raid. I think Ulduar might be a little bit longer, but let me see if I can port out of here real quick and sell some stuff. Because I definitely need to. Macro. Yeah, somebody was saying you have to farm potions and stuff, consumables to get through a vanilla Nax. You're basically off there like farming for potion mats. 2 hours a day is what I heard for the people who really were serious about it. Oh! Wow, that's very loud. I'm gonna turn off sounds for a second here and sell some stuff. Mail. Oh, I should turn back on. Boo boo boo. No, I want that. I want that. There we go. Alright. Sorry about that. That was very loud. I apologize. One more wing to go. That's going to be the construct quarter, which is on the other side of the side here. We're going to go bust that up, and then the two end bosses we're going to try to take down pretty quickly. I should not have... There are two vendors on that mount, and the other one is not as loud. I apologize about that. So the construct quarter is... constructs are basically things stitched together from other bodies. Kind of zombies, you know. These, all the old... That's not cool. That doesn't look good. Disease clouds. Ugh. Grody. Where am I going first here? Let's see. Oh, Patrick, okay. These little poison wells used to take off almost all of your health when you walk through. Nowadays, they kind of keep you all attributes reduced by 90%. Okay, I see. So when you walk out, your attributes go back to normal, but back in the day, they would actually reduce your health by 90%, and when you walked out, it wouldn't get restored to normal, so you'd walk through this stuff and like take a huge amount of damage, it seemed like, but I guess it was just your attributes being reduced and then restored. But now it looks like it actually restores the amount of health that was removed from you. So the first boss here is Patchwork, who is a big dude who's going to be coming around the corner here in a second. He's kind of a DPS boss. His big thing is this thing called Hateful Strike, which would target like the top 3 threat people nearby him. And it would also target people close by. And at any rate, he would do it every second for a lot of damage. And it would split, I believe, between 2 targets, so you'd have to kind of have a couple tanks there to take some damage, but at any rate, he is kind of a DPS race. If I recall correctly, you have to kind of take him down pretty quick before he gets too powerful and takes out your whole raid. But anyway, I don't have to worry about that. He's kind of just a bigger model of the regular old bad guys over here.
Kel'thuzan made Patchwork his avatar of war.
Let's see if it actually hits me. Oh wow, okay. So some of these bosses will pull everything that you haven't killed, I guess. And now I'm feeling the burn of that. I pulled basically everything. Man, that's a lot of enemies. I'm trying to figure out where these lightning totems come for. I think Patrick puts them down, but he doesn't seem like he's the shamanistic type. But at any rate, man, he only drops one lousy purple. That's not cool. That's not cool. Somebody was saying he's a gear boss check, so if you can actually beat him, you would be, you'd be good enough to get through the rest of the raid, which I can totally see. Some of these bosses are basically just, hey, check yourself before you wreck yourself kind of stuff, where if you can beat them, you at least have the talent to get through the rest of the raid, which I guess Patrick was. Patchwork. It sounds like Patrick, but... Okay. Almost through the... Here is Grobulus, which is a great name for a boss. Grobulus has a AoE kind of poison effect around him. He'll drop down these poison clouds, and they will expand pretty largely. They do a lot of damage to anybody in them. So he has a couple attacks that do attacks right in front of him, which only the tank should be hit by. And he also has a what is this? He will also cast mutating injection, which will make raid members actually drop poison clouds too. So basically, this is a kind of a movement thing where you have to tank him around the room and keep him moving in, so you don't wander into poison clouds too much. And you also have to make sure that people who are affected by mutating injection will run away from everybody else or get dispelled. Hopefully, I think that can be dispelled. But for the most part, Grobulus is kind of a movement boss where that does not do any damage at all. Wow. That does a lot of damage. I'm not spec'd for DPS, and this is kind of a DPS spell, so I'm not surprised it doesn't do any damage. It's just kind of fun to figure it all out. So when I can kill him anywhere, but Grobulus was meant to be kind of aggroed here. You have to kill all these things, obviously, and then tanked around the room. So you want to kind of drag him all the way around. So all these poison clouds would be behind him. The tank would be facing him away for the rest of the raid and into a wall, and everybody else would kind of be following him and doing damage to him. and you have 9 minutes to kill him, because otherwise he would enrage and kind of wipe your raid. That's not fun to have happen at all. Anyways, I don't think any of these things would matter, because I don't even think that I can do so little damage that he will... Okay, everybody's coming up now. We'll see if we can find the poison cloud stuff at least. I'm a monk. Somebody in chat is asking what class I am. I normally play as paladin. Sorry, I was gonna play my paladin today, but I figured I would do it on the monk, just because this thing is so handy. Sprays and slime across the room. He's not really doing any of the poison clouds yet. He might actually not do them. I'm not sure. That might only be a thing if he has multiple people in the raid, but you can kind of see him popping out here. Hey guys. Oh no. I was just talking about Eastern Promises last night. I stayed up way too late and was talking with my neighbor. And we started talking about the movie Eastern Promises, which is fantastic if you haven't seen it. So you see these are the poison clouds we were talking about before. They expand to be very, very big, so you have to kind of kite him around the room and make sure that your whole raid doesn't get hit by poison, which is tough because they get really, really big before they fade away. Fade away. Bye-bye. Poison. Gentle poison. Está bien. Está bien. Oh no! Shit! Fuck! Oh, god damn it! God damn it! Oh, that was bad. That was stupid. Sorry. Poopy. I accidentally fell down and have to go back to where I was before. Apologies. That was dumb. I wasn't looking what I was doing. And that was no fun. I don't really have any. I have one movement enhancing ability as a monk. I have this roll thing that is a pretty long cooldown. Sorry, apologies. Desecrated past. Leggings. Suit says, at least there aren't 24 people yelling at you or waiting for you. As a tank, even in an LFR, you get so many people yelling at you to go faster, faster, faster. And that's one of the things I really don't like about playing WoW. I mean, even LFR is kind of a joke in terms of difficulty, but just the amount of people who want to pressure you to go faster, faster, faster is really something I find kind of anxiety-inducing about playing this game. Yeah, that's my story. Anyways, there are 2 more bosses, I want to say. Yeah, okay. But you have to get over this pipe to get to them. And I'm going to try and do that real quick. Gluth. Let me read my notes real quick, because I know this guy is not too hard for you to beat, but it also has some interesting stuff. He has a mortal wound, which will reduce healing done to the target. He has an enrage ability, and back in the day, I think the hunters might still have this ability to remove enrage from targets, so hunters would have to ping him to prevent that from happening. Decimate is the big thing. He will reduce the health of almost everybody in the raid by 5%. So almost like to the point where everybody's almost dead. That happens every 90 seconds. So you have to heal up the tank immediately as soon as that happens, and also heal the rest of the raid pretty quickly as well. I don't know the specific mechanics of this. I assume there's a lot of AoE healing when that happens, but the decimates are the big problem. And he also has zombie chows, which we'll see here too. Oh, you're gonna come up here? You wanna say hello? I've actually had him pop up here before. He will kind of come up. Yeah! Hey, how you doing, buddy? And they'll respawn. This is a weird bug I don't think they've ever figured out. He knows I'm here and will come up to get the pets. You gonna come up? Say hello? Yeah. Oh, hey. Okay, bye. Anyways, the other big thing is that he will summon in zombie chows. He will spawn in zombie people who, if they get close to Gluth, will heal him for a bunch of health. So the other thing you have to do, and they also have like 100, or they have a million health, which is almost as much as the boss does. So they have to be affected. So you see he's eating these people. And now he's enraged, which you'd have to remove. You would have to get these people close enough to be affected by the ability where they would be reduced to 5% health, but they can't be close enough to be eaten. So that's kind of the big mechanic here, where you have to keep these people far enough away to be affected by that big-ass debuff, but not close enough to be eaten. And I apologize if that's incorrect, but please let me know if that... Oh my god, he's so big. Where's Decimate? Oh, physical damage increased by 100. Whoa. I better tap myself off here. That might get dangerous. We got a stacking debuff. At some point that will become relevant in maybe a couple years. The amount of physical damage I take, but not yet. I want to see if I can get the big debuff on me, but I'm not sure he'll do it without. Maybe he needs 2 people here. Let's see. It's a really quick enrage. 5 seconds. The puppy. Maybe he doesn't even do the big decimate. Let's see. Let me give him a few more seconds. Figure it out. Maybe I am just lucky where he's just not going to do it, but I don't. It's been, what, 2 minutes since I came in here? He might just not do, he might not do it if he keeps eating zombies. That might be the case. I thought it was on a straight timer, but at any rate, that is kind of the fight. Keep these guys away from him, and don't be hit by Decimate, or at least try not to be killed by it. I have the tiger. What is this? Oh, I forgot. You could see how much he was getting healed by if I had done that. Great, but unfortunately I did not. Oh, I got a puppy! A stitched pup. Why are you guys still spawning? Boss is dead. Please stop. No, please stop. Please stop spawning. That's not fun. So we got a Gluth stitched pup. Let me go and use that real quick. I don't think do I have any? Collected 1 of 3. Let's see what that is. Oh, that's cute. That's adorable. I haven't done much pet battling at all, so most of the stuff I should just cage up and auction off, but I don't want to be a puppy mill in WoW. These are actually pretty hard. A lot of health. Okay, last boss of the Construct Quarter. Man, there are a lot of these people. I think there's a bug where these guys keep on spawning. I don't think they should be after the last boss died, but they seem to be spawning for some reason. So there are 2 bosses here, actually 3, if you think about it. Let me get my notes up real quick. Thaddeus is the big guy back here. You can see him kind of hanging out, just kind of doing his thing. And then there's two other ones, Stalag and Fuegan. These people will have to be kind of, you have to split your raid a little bit. The tanks will be kind of ported over every 30 seconds. Fuegan does nature damage every 3 seconds to everybody nearby, and Stalag will increase his own haste every 10 seconds. So these guys have to be kind of killed. Oh, shit. What the fuck? Oh, no. Shit. Oh, my God. Come on. Okay, well, I was going to explain that a little bit better. Oh, that's actually a big buff. Big debuff. At any rate, these are the two people who are kind of taking care of Thaddeus here in the background. You have to take these guys out kind of at the same time. But, oh man, I'm actually taking damage. Okay. That was weird, and these guys are not obeying the laws of physics, which you cannot go through a closed door, but they kind of are doing their thing, so that's great. Shit. Fuck. Okay. Now we have to get through. I really wish I had more time to explain this shit. I didn't think I would aggro. Oh, crap. Okay, alright. That turned poor very quickly. How do I get... Okay, here we go. So anyways, Thaddeus is a boss that has polarity, where you have a bunch of people who are positive and a bunch of people who are negative, and it'll kind of do it at random throughout the raid. So all the people who have a similar polarity had to split and get next to each other, because when you're near people who have the same polarity as you, you'll do more damage. But if you're near people who have the opposite polarity of you, you will take damage. So you see, I have negative charge right here. Deals 5,000 damage to nearby allies that are not negatively charged every 5 seconds. And everybody who near me is negatively charged would do more damage. So he would flip this off and on every once in a while for the entire raid, and you would have to kind of find everybody else who is negatively charged and run. Yeah, I think you'd have like one side is negative, one side is positive.
You feel pain.
No, I don't feel pain. But yeah, as you're kind of running around trying to get health and everything like that, you can imagine the complications of trying to keep track of your charge and remembering where you're supposed to go. So all it takes is 1 or 2 people to wipe a raid if you don't know exactly what you're doing and what your polarity is. But if you do have your polarity down, you will be able to get with your group of people over here and take them on. He has a lot of health. Anyways, I'm not sure my statue can actually get debuffs. I'm not sure. I don't think it can. Polarity shift. I keep on getting negative. Maybe I'm just that kind of person. No, you feel pain. Headpiece of fungal bloom. This better look good. What the fuck? That is...
You have seen nothing. The frozen heart of Noxus awaits you.
That's the ugliest thing I've seen in a while. So those are the 4 wings, and we're about to go down into the belly of the monster here. The orb of an extremis will get me down to Saffron's lair. I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick, and I'll be right back, and then we'll do the last 2 bosses, and we'll probably call it a day. We'll see what happens. I'll be right back. Okay. Here we are. So there are 2 more bosses left in Naxxramas. One is Saffron, who actually don't know much of the lore for. Let me look that up real quick, but I'm sure there's something intriguing about him or her. Once a noble blue dragon within the mountains of Northrend, Saffron was slain by Arthas during his campaign through the frozen north, resurrected to serve him. Saffron guards Kel'Thuzan's lair eternally, awaiting those who would dare trespass upon his master. I think I remember that. I think that was in Warcraft 3, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, Saffron. Let me find my notes. So most dragons in World of Warcraft have a cleave in front of them and a tail slap that will attack people behind them. So you kind of have all the DPS attacking from the sides of a dragon. There is a big frost aura, which will do a bunch of damage to everybody in the raid every 2 seconds. So a big raid-wide damage that has to be taken care of. There's a life drain, which is a curse that will deal damage to 5 players every 24 seconds. That's crazy. And also heal Saffron, so you have to kind of debuff that, or dispel that as soon as it comes up. There's also a big blizzard that he will cast on anybody who comes nearby. The big thing, though, is that he will fly up into the air, and he will do ice bolts on people in the raid, which will freeze them. And we'll see if I can get to that point. How about that? Before I talk about it. Hey, you wanna say something, or it's kind of awkward? All right. Anyways, like I said, those are kind of the abilities that he has, and I'm not going to be threatened by any of them. The Frost Aura, it hits everybody in the raid. There's no avoiding it or anything like that, so you kind of have to just heal through. There's a big-ass Blizzard that he does, which I guess I'm in right now, too. Slows my movement speed, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to just go ahead and warp out of it. That's actually interesting because these are not targeting players. They're just kind of targeting a random spot on the ground. I would think that they would have targeted actual players, but apparently not. They're all kind of hitting near me, though. So maybe they are somewhat random. Here he goes. I don't know if this might actually kill me. I'm not sure. I've been frozen, and I can't actually remove my camera. That's no good. So the big deal here is that if I'm frozen, I'm a big block of ice, which is not really well represented here with the view that I have. But he takes a deep breath and casts a big AoE damage spell. And you have to basically be behind the people who are frozen in order to avoid that. So you kind of have to have a little physical movement part of this thing. Otherwise, you would take 112 to 187,000 damage, which back in the day was even now that's like a third of my life bar. But back in the day, that would basically be just you're dead. And anyways, that's kind of the rotation you have to do. You have to do a lot of damage when he's on the ground, and then when he goes up in the air, you have to hide behind the people who are frozen in ice blocks. And I'm not going to worry about that because I kind of want to kill him. Trying to figure out this new tank monkey bunker rotation. It seems super simple, like it's almost too simple.
Soon, we will eradicate the Alliance and Horde. Then the rest of Azeroth will fall before the weight of my army. Yes, Master. The time of their ultimate demise grows close. What is this? Invaders, here. Destroy them, Kel'thuzan. Nox Ramos must not fall. As you command, Master.
Suit wants to know if you can be resurrected in raids. Yeah, every time you die at the end of the quest discovered. That's weird. Yeah, once you wipe, you'll either go back to a graveyard and I'll come back in, or if you beat the boss after you're dead, the healers will have a resurrection spell. And then they'll get you back up and rebuffed and everything like that before you move on. But yeah, if you lose in a boss fight, usually everybody's pretty much dead, so you kind of have to come back in. So here is the end boss of Nax Ramus. This is Kel'thuzan, who I can't click on for some reason. He's one of the Lich King's right-hand liches, I suppose. And he is a big, bad dude. And let me read up on this real quick before we start going. It's hard to see, but there are a bunch of weird little portals over here that he will summon bad guys from. I guess it doesn't happen until I actually aggro him or walk far enough in. This is the one thing I didn't take notes on. I was up really late last night, and I did not. I have a bunch of notes here, but they're not in great order, unfortunately. So there's a bunch of ads coming in all the time, and you have to kind of take them on. He has unstoppable abominations. I apologize. Man, holy shit, this sounds really complicated. I've done this before, but it's really a big, long fight to figure out. Let's go ahead and just aggro him and see what happens. No? No? Really? No? You don't like my statue? No? No? No?
Silence!
Here we go.
Soldiers of the cold dark. Obey the call of Kel'thuzan.
You guys want to fight? So you still can attack him at this point, and then all these ads start popping in, and you have to basically take them down as they come in. I think that means the fight is on. Alright, so we basically have to kill everything that comes in for a little bit. Which all have, these guys all have, you know, unique abilities that they would be casting if they weren't dying immediately as soon as I touch them with the back of my hand. Oh, I gotta do this for 3 minutes, that's cool. So we have to basically sit through this for about 3 more minutes, unfortunately. When Kel'thuzan actually becomes targetable, he will become somebody you can... What the... Are they just... Man. Why are these guys taking... Oh, I bet they're like blowing up or something like that to do damage. At any rate, not to worry. I think I'm okay. Huh. So if I'm reading this correctly, and I've only done this solo before, he will mind control people once he becomes attackable, and they will do a lot more damage to everybody else, and also heal Kel'thuzan. So once you have chains of Kel'thuzan on you, you have to be you can't actually remove them. So I don't think that'll affect me, but we'll see. So if you have a big raid, apparently there will be 3 people who would be basically mind controlled and will doing a lot of healing to Kel'thuzan or doing a lot of damage to the raid, and that is what you kind of have to protect against. But I don't know if I'll be affected by it. I might be. The Summon Blackhawk statue is always really weird in terms of how raids are treated. Because solo raids, some abilities will never be used by bosses, but then when I have the... No. Here we go. Alright, so now he's mad at me. I'm gonna hit him a little bit. We'll see if he actually does this thing to me. He's doing Frostbolt, which is definitely one of the big damage dealers that he has. But I'm not seeing any kind of, He has a bunch of damage dealing opportunities, obviously, but I don't see much of them coming out. He has Frostbolt, he has Mana Detonation, he has Frost Blast, which will, Frost Blast sounds like the bad one. Ice Block effects make them unable to perform any action, and it will chain all the way through and basically kill them if they're not healed within 4 seconds. Back in the day, I don't think, unless it's a proportional kind of spell, I don't think it'll actually hurt me too much. So he's targetable now, but also there are still spawns coming in from outside, which is probably pretty freaking difficult to deal with. Anyways, this is kind of what's going on now. He is doing a big raid damage to everybody else, and there's also a bunch of... Oh, there's a void zone, which you have to kind of stay out of. Yeah, I don't think he's actually going to do any of the weird, crazy shit. Or maybe I just haven't waited long enough. A 90-second cooldown on the mind control, so I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna get this one where he can actually do that to me, but at any rate, let me see if I can... He has a phase 3 at 35% health, which he will summon Crypt Lords in to help him out. Man, each of them have as much HP as Kel'Thuzan himself. Let's see if I can do. There we go.
Very well, warriors of the frozen wastes, rise up. I command you to fight, kill, and die for your master.
No, don't do that.
None survive.
So each of these guys have a lot of health. Oh man, 2.8 million and blood tap. They'll do more damage over time, and I believe that stacks at some point every like 15 seconds or so. There we go. So yeah, it actually stacks for them, and they will start doing more and more damage as the fight wears on. They're actually kind of taking away some health from me, so that's pretty impressive, to be honest with you. And Kel'Thuzan is also still here doing his bullshit frost stuff to me, which is not fun at all. Man. So anyways, he's not going to do the mind control on me because I'm the only living human here, unfortunately, but that would be the big mechanic that you'd have to worry about. Except for the fact that they're all...
Let's rejoice. Your victory is a hollow one. For I shall return with powers beyond your imagination.
I don't think Kel'Thuzan has actually come back after this fight. I don't think he's actually anywhere else in the game. I could be wrong. He's a pretty important lore character, but I don't believe he has actually done anything else. Of course, like Arthas too. You know they're going to bring back the Lich King at some point, but so far he has not actually returned to the game. I bet that's going to be the expansion after Legion is going to be Wrath of the Lich King 2 or something like that. What other stuff? I got a gun, which I can't use. Ah! So big. That's a big gun. Cloth legs, a big axe. And a couple crowns. That is the Naxxramas raid. That's a big ass throne. Kel'Thuzan doesn't even look like he could sit down. I don't know why he has a throne. How do I get out of here? How do I leave? What's going on? There should be a portal here back to the beginning, but I don't think there is. Let me get back here real quick. So again, I apologize. Some of the stuff would have been way better with 2 people. Maybe once we get the Cataclysm, I think we'll probably try to get a friend in here and help some of these those old 10-man raids or 25-man raids, because some of the mechanics don't actually apply if you're soloing it. So once we go on to Cataclysm, I have a couple more big raids to do before then. I think we'll try to get a friend of mine in here, or some of you maybe. Maybe we'll get audience participation, and we'll try to get some of the actual shows, some of the mechanics that are applicable only when there's more people than one in the raid. But at the moment, that is Naxxramas. Let me. Somebody was suggesting that I do one of the big dungeons down here, or one of the dragon dungeons. Let me see if I can do that. Where am I going? Wormrest Temple. Actually, I think I'll save the dragon dungeons for another stream. There are at least 3 or 4 big dungeons in Wrath that are. Let's see if we can find the adventure guide. Raids. Wrath of the Lich King. So they're Naxxramas, Ulduar, and Icecrown are the big ones. Onyxia, Eye of Eternity, Obsidian, and Ruby are all one boss kind of things. Vault of Archivon is pretty short too. That's the one you have to have a PvP goal set. You have to control the zone for this stuff if you want to actually do it. But Old War is going to be next, then Ice Crown. Maybe I can do both of those on one big long stream. That'll be a long day, but and then Trial of the Crusader is also another big one as well. But for now, I think I'm going to take a nap. I was up way too late last night. Sartharian, 3 Drakes. Okay, I'll do Sartharian. I need to figure out which friggin' portal it is. So Sartharian is down here underneath the big dragon tower. The blue dragons have this big tower here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm not sure which actual portal it is, but we'll see if we can do that real quick. And it will be quick. Trust me on that. If anybody remembers which one is Sartharian, let me know, because I'm just going to probably walk into some of these at random until I find Sartharian 3 Drakes. Let's see. There's no map for it. Middle. Okay, that's Ruby. Here we go. Sure, why not? So Sartharian is a boss who is a big dragon, and I don't know what his backstory is, but I don't really care too much. So the big thing about Sartharian, back in the day, this is 25 man. So there are Vesperon, Shadron, and Tenebron, who are all named fairly similarly. So if you actually, these guys, once you aggro the boss, each of these guys would fly in and buff him or debuff you. So the challenge is to either take on these guys one by one, because he won't aggro if you walk around the perimeter. You could kill all of them to make him easier, or you could leave them awake and alive to make Sartharian harder. If you did 25 man Sartharian with 3 Drakes, you would get a guaranteed good mount, if I recall correctly. And I don't think that'll be a problem. I think I already have the mount, but in any case, if I wanted to, I could walk up here, kill these Drakes, kill this guy, kill this guy, kill this guy, and the way Sartharian would be that much easier to do. But now I'm just going to go ahead and put my little totem down to get everybody awake and alive.
It is my charge to watch over these eggs. I will see you burn before any harm comes to them.
Yeah, and then once you aggro Sartharian, you get basically everybody else in the entire zone here, which I don't think should be a problem. Yeah, so you see the other dragons are debuffing me. Maximum health decreased, fire damage taken increased, shadow damage taken decreased, so this would be a very difficult fight normally. But I don't think it's going to matter too much because, oh, the lava. Here's the lava wave. Yeah.
Your charred bones will litter the floor.
I don't know. It's kind of funny seeing these things that were so crazy back in the day to be so trivial. I've taken 3% damage. I might be in danger. I'm not sure. Anyways, I'm gonna kill Sartharian now because he is going to be dead. That is a big loot chest that I just got. Where does this go to? I don't even know the mechanics of this fight. I'm sorry, I didn't look it up. I wasn't planning on doing it before I came in. But anyways, Sartheron is dead. And I got like 10 purple stuff. 10 purple things. Shoulder pads, where are they? Eh! Kind of lame looking, to be honest with you. Get a big bag. 22 slots. That's not great. I think I'm stuck here now. Anyways, that is my stream for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed. The next time we do it, we will do Ulduar, which is a very, very long and fairly complicated raid. And then after that, we'll do Ice Crown Citadel, and I'll try to do some more of the solo stuff, the one dragon things at the time that I do those. Hopefully, I'm trying to do every raid in the game before Legion comes out. I got about a month. We'll figure it out. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me on a Saturday afternoon. I know it's not always the best time to stream stuff, but that's really the only time I have time to do this kind of stuff. So I will see everybody soon, and thank you for joining me. And I will stop streaming now. How about that? Alright guys, I'll see you soon.